You know, sometimes it's good to be wrong about something in the game, and today is one such day. When I originally looked at the newest exotic chess piece that Hunters had gotten, that being Gifted Conviction, I didn't really think much of it potential-wise. Little did I know that we'd get a weapon a little later on to pair with this thing, and that would suddenly make this a shockingly good Hunter build. Get it? Because I said shock and it's an arc-based. I'll see myself out. For those out of the loop, Gifted Conviction is an exotic chess piece that states, activating Ascension or Tempest Strike throws bouncing explosives at nearby targets that jolt and damage them. Jolting nearby targets grants you damage resist. The key part here is that we will be activating Ascension, which in turn will make us amplified, jolt nearby targets, and give us damage resist. And the weapon we'll be pairing with this is going to be a new auto rifle from the Vespers Host dungeon, DS Pyroelectric Propellant. This is a new arc auto rifle that can roll a new perk introduced in episode Revenant, which is Jolted Feedback. This perk states, dealing repeated damage with this weapon inflicts jolt at an increased rate. While amplified, jolt is applied faster. The key part here is not only does this weapon jolt targets, but if you are amplified, which we just mentioned with Ascension, then you jolt targets even faster than you normally would. And the second perk I have to pair with Jolted Feedback is also pretty helpful, and that is a fairly new perk too. Strategist. This perk states, final blows with this weapon generate improved class ability energy, and then activating your class ability also briefly improves this weapon's stability, but the main key part here is the final blows will generate class ability energy. So in essence, you activate your class ability to ascend, jolt, and amplify yourself, and in turn then also jolt with your weapon and refund class ability energy through final blows to help you get back to your dodge almost instantly. And lastly, this weapon also has a good origin trait as well called Braid Legacy, which allows you to get small amounts of ability energy back when you damage enemies with this weapon. Yes, not defeat enemies, simply just damaging them. So on their own, this is already a sick two-piece combo, the best two-piece combo I've seen since they let you buy chicken nugs and fries for breakfast at McDonald's. But of course, we're going to go even further beyond. Hopefully people still get this reference. Let's talk about the kit, or funny enough, the kits. This build can be ran on both Standard Arc Strider and Prismatic Hunter with slight variations and tweaks. First, let's talk about Arc Strider. So the super I'm going with here is just Gathering Storm. It's a free super to land very easily. It jolts enemies. It's perfect. I don't want to be stuck in the Storm's Edge animations too long either, because I want to get back to my combo. So Gathering Storm fits perfectly. In our abilities, you could use whatever dodge you want, although you technically could use reload dodge since you're going to be using a weapon for a majority of the combo. That's up to you though. You could do melee dodge if you'd like. Combination blow as the melee, of course, and then we're going to go with any grenade you want. I personally like Pulse Grenade, but maybe you guys like the Flashbang or Flux, whatever, up to you, right? For aspects, we're of course going with Ascension because that's the whole motor to start the engine. And then our other aspect is going to be Flow State, which states defeating jolted targets makes you amplified, so another way just to amplify you. And then while you're amplified, your dodge recharges more quickly. So you're just feeding your loop even more to regen that faster. For your fragments, I'll put them up on the top of the screen here. We have 4 of them. The first one is going to be Spark of Resistance, which allows you to be more resilient to incoming damage when you are surrounded. The second one is going to be Spark of Focus. While sprinting for a short time, your class ability regeneration is increased. Your third is going to be Spark of Discharge. Arc weapon final blows have a chance to create an ionic trace. And lastly, we have Spark of Ions. Defeating a jolted target creates an ionic trace, and the whole point of the build is to defeat jolted targets. Now on the other end, we have Prismatic Hunter, which is a little bit different. It doesn't immediately go straight into all arc. This has some variation. For example, you could pick a different super on here. You could pick Tether for more crowd control and also getting an overshield when you have debuffed enemies killed. You could go Golden Gun, even though it doesn't synergize with the rest of the build. Golden Gun as your super allows you to use a facet of purpose to then give yourself restoration when you're picking up orbs, which then helps you stay alive by just continuously healing. Even though you're getting damaged, you'll still be getting healed. I personally went with Tether, but you could pick whatever you'd like. In our abilities, we have Snare Bomb for a free weaken on any enemy or group of enemies that we'd like. And then for our grenade, we have Arc Bolt Grenade because we're going to have another source of jolting through that Arc Bolt Grenade. For aspects, we have Ascension, of course, because that's our motor. And then our second one, at least for me, is going to just be Winter Shroud. Now, technically, we're not going to be even trying to utilize this, and we're obviously going to try to use our class ability in the air. The main reason why this is here, or in fact, you could put Threaded Spectre or Gunpowder Gamble in this slot if you'd like, is it gives us a 6th fragment slot to use, which just makes our build that much better. Otherwise, if I didn't use a 6th fragment, I would just go Stylish Executioner, because at least then, when I'm killing things with my abilities, I would go instantly invisible, and that could help me get out of a pinch, which is always handy. Now for the fragments, we have 6 of these currently, but it could go down to 5 depending if you want to use Stylish or not. We're going to go from left to right, starting with Facet of Awakening. Rapidly defeating targets with light or darkness damage or super final blows generates an elemental pickup of the damage type. Number 2 is going to be Facet of Protection. Again, while you're surrounded, you are more resistant to incoming damage, so just helping you survive. Number 3 is going to be Facet of Balance. Rapidly defeating targets with light damage grants melee energy. Rapidly defeating targets with darkness grants grenade energy. Now, initially, you're probably thinking, wait, why are you using Balance? That doesn't make any sense. You're not using Combo Blow. Well, we are using our Snare Bomb, which is a free weakening on any enemy that we'd like. So, when we're getting light damage kills, which is, all our jolting and whatnot, we would get our melee back that much quicker, and then we can, again, weaken whatever tanky enemy that we like, a yellow bar, a boss, etc. Now, yeah, you could go circumvent this by using something like Lost Signal, but if you don't want to use Lost Signal, then this is your next best thing to just have a weaken on demand, and of course, after Revenant is gone, that's not going to be an artifact mod anymore, so this can just stay here permanently. Number 4 is Facet of Purpose. This, again, is going to depend on your super and how you want to use this. So if you're Goldie, you get Resto. If you're Storm's Edge, you get Amp, which most people probably would want in this case. If you're Tether, you get an Overshield. You get the point. That's how you can utilize this to the max potential. Number 5 is going to be Facet of Dominance. Your Void Grenades weaken, and then your Arc Grenades jolt. In this case, the Jolt. And then lastly, Facet of Hope. While you have an elemental buff of any kind, your class ability regenerates more quickly. So most of the time you'll have Amp, which means this will be live most of the time. That means your class ability is going to regenerate that much quicker. Now, if you ran Stylish and you only have 5 fragment slots, then you could probably just remove Dominance or Balance if you want to just cut something out. Now for the mods, we're going to go top to bottom, starting with Helmet, and I'll put the mods at the top of the screen while we're talking about this. So in Helmet, I have 2 specific mods. We have 1 copy of Dynamo to reduce your super cooldown when you're using your class ability in your targets, which is going to be constant. And the other one is 2 copies of Arc Siphon, just to make more orbs off of when you're using Propellant. But 2 copies isn't mandatory, I would say. If you want to slot one of these out for like Heavy Ammo Finder, Special Ammo Finder, etc., then you can do that too. In gloves, we have 3 mods. The first is going to be Bolstering Detonation. Grants class ability energy when you cause damage with a grenade. So you throw your grenade, you jolt, you make an orb, and you get energy back for your class ability. It's perfect. Second one is going to be Firepower. When you throw your grenade, you will make an orb of power, assuming you kill something. So just making that clear with Bolstering Detonation. And then lastly, we have Arc Loader in the event that you just want to reload your propellant faster. Chest we're going to skip because chest is always either reserves or resist. If you're doing this in low-end content, you could put reserves on. If you're using this in high-end content, then you want to put resist on to survive more against enemies. In boots, we have 1 copy of Arc Weapon Surge just to make your auto a little bit stronger when you're fighting the waves of enemies. In the second slot, we have Insulation. Reduces class ability cooldown each time you pick up an Orb of Power, which is great for this particular build. And then lastly, Absolution reduces all ability cooldowns each time you pick up an Orb of Power. Now, I will say, if you want, you could technically put in a second copy of Insulation if you want to focus on your class ability specifically, or you could do Absolution, whatever you want, up to you. Lastly, we have the class items. We have 3 mods here. The first one is going to be Bomber. Reduce your grenade cooldown when using your class ability. That way you can kind of loop them back and forth, so you can constantly jolt, make orbs, get class ability energy with bolstering, etc. The second mod is going to be Powerful Attraction. Since you're going to be using your class ability non-stop, and you're going to be killing things from a distance, most of the time anyway, Powerful Attraction allows it so that you can just suck up any orbs that you made very quickly instead of you running around and picking them up manually. Also, I would say if you want a bigger radius for Powerful Attraction, you could probably slot out the Bomber mod for a second copy if you'd like. And the last mod is going to be Reaper. Shortly after using your class ability, your next weapon final blow spawns an Orb of Power. Pretty straightforward there. Another orb, there you go. Also, here are my artifact mods in case anybody's curious. Some of these are helpful, some of these are kind of controversial, up to you if you want to use them or not. But here we go. So first is Trace Evidence. Rapid precision hits or rapid final blows on targets that are affected by Jolt or Blind will generate ionic traces. I think this is good. Concussive Reload, pretty much a staple this season. If you're using any GL, you have a free weaken machine. So if you're running a GL, use this. Next one, this is kind of the controversial one, Retinal Burn. Rapid arc weapon precision hits, consume an armor charge, and blind the target. Now, This build, the way I have it set up, doesn't have problems with making armor charges and then keeping this up, but some people might find it annoying and just, you know, don't want to use this because they want to keep their surges for whatever reason. So if you don't want to use this, I totally understand. Completely not mandatory. And then also Cosmic Crystal right here. Same thing. Your arc abilities will get extra damage if you have a stasis debuff on a target. So for example, if you ran Shurikens or Dustfield or Winter Shroud on a target and then you used Gathering Storm on that target, you would do more damage. But again, not mandatory at all. Oh, one last thing. If you are going to playtest this, or if you're just watching the footage and noticing it, there is a bug in the game, and it's really a bad bug, where Vanguard Op activities, or anything related to it, like Salvation's Onslaught, has a bug where you just will not get healed. Straight up, it's like you're playing Halo with all the skulls on, you get 0 healing. So if you're wondering why your survivability might be lacking or you're not healing, that's why it's a bug in the game. The build actually, when working properly, is fine with keeping survivability up. As always, I'll have a dim link for the build below, and if you're missing this auto rifle for this build, you can go into the Vespers Host dungeon between November 19th and December 3rd and have double drops on to try to farm out for this auto rifle. Other than that, if you enjoyed the video or the build, please consider subscribing today. It does help the channel grow and it's much appreciated. And if you want to go the extra mile, you can leave a like and or a comment below as well. If you don't know what to comment, you can leave Jolt Perfected as the comment. Thanks for watching. Catch you next time.